Get ready for an unfair advantage over your competition. This is the Sales Edge podcast, where globally recognized sales expert and trainer Joe Peachy helps you sharpen your skills for booking more appointments and closing more deals. And now, here's your host, Joe Peachy.
Well, hey team, this is Joe Peachy of The Sales Edge, and this is podcast number 50. And we're excited here at The Sales Edge. We're excited to have accomplished number 50. We're excited about you tuning in and you supporting this podcast. We want you to be part of this. We want you to have a voice. We want you to send in any disagreements, any additions, anything you'd like to hear us talk about. Here at The Sales Edge, we focus on growth. We focus on productivity. We focus on helping you gain an unfair advantage over your competition. We focus on skills, tactics, strategies. The Sales Edge is sponsored by Peachy and Peachy. Peachy and Peachy is a training, speaking, consulting, coaching business that really helps their clients get in front of their target market, generate more business. We help all different size companies, small, medium, and large, and we really specialize in that competitive edge. So we want you to feel free to send me an email at joe@PICIANDPICI.com or just call me for a quick cup of Joe, 407-947-2590. Reach out, have a conversation with us. Let us know if there's anything you'd like us to discuss. Let us know if there's something you'd like us to touch on, and you can let us know if you want us to use your name, if you don't want us to use your name. Before we get into the next podcast, we have an announcement. We're excited about it. Dawn and I met yesterday, and we were looking for a fresh idea. The podcast world is so incredible. And the more I get into it, the more people I listen to, the more talent I listen to. It's just a great source of ongoing information. You can get podcasting, when you're on a stationary bike, when you're in your car. But Dawn and I are going to kick off a new segment. We're probably going to do it maybe twice a month. It's going to be, Dawn would like to name it Heroes of Transition. It's going to be those people that either have started a transition or in a transition, they've worked through a transition, and it's not always going to be celebrity. It's not always going to be people that have arrived. It's not always going to be those named people, and we'll have some of those. We will have some people that we've all heard of and have climbed their mountains, so to speak, and achieved above average things, but we're going to be talking to people like you and me. We're going to be talking to those people that find themselves transitioning, find themselves at a point where either voluntarily or it was put on them, have chosen to take on a new challenge. They're in the climb. We're going to find those people in the climb. And so don't be surprised if we reach out to you to be part of this. Now, we're working out the logistics. We're working out the actual process that's going to happen. But we feel this is going to be an exciting new addition to our podcast, Heroes of Transition. And that's going to be coming sooner than later. And so today, as we move forward at podcast number 50, we're going to be talking about attitude determines altitude. That comes from Zig Ziglar. I certainly didn't coin it. When I have studied successful people, and I do, and I know some of you do, and you look for those common denominators of characteristic, of things they do that gives them that competitive edge, that helps them to be more than they can be. And as I've studied and studied and studied all different people, from professional athletes to college athletes to high school athletes to professional coaches, the whole athletic world, and then into the business world, from CEO to just the everyday worker, from the companies we go into, from small, medium, and large, anything from a one-man operation right up to the NFL and people like that. And then I get into people's personal walk, their personal life. The people that seem to be successful. I have come up with something that I believe is true. The common denominator for success is attitude. I believe all things flow through attitude. And looking at what definitions are of attitude, a manner of thinking, feeling, or behaving that reflects your state of mind. Another one is the way a person views something or behaves towards it. Your attitude is your mental filter through which you experience the world. Charles Popplestone, you can't always control your circumstances, but you can control your attitude. And so it's not what happens to us. It's not, do I get knocked down? It's, do I get up? It's not, it's not, do I fail? It's, do I rise again? And so everything flows through attitude. So here are some examples of positive versus negative, attitude. A positive attitude is a person who sees opportunity. They see an opportunity out there, whereas a negative person will see the obstacle. You can't do that. I can't do that. This is challenges. And yet that positive person sees that opportunity. They see, when I do this, what do I get? A positive attitude is a person who is grateful for what they have. The negative attitude, they're not grateful, okay? They don't thank people. They find fault. And as I move on, I believe you're going to find such a power in gratefulness. The positive takes responsibility. The negative blames others. So you look at that person that stands up in front, takes that responsibility, leads the charge. That's your positive attitude. Whereas that negative attitude is the person that tends to blame other people, to find a reason why we can't. Now, the positive attitude sees the best in people, whereas the negative criticizes and finds fault with people. So you look at that person who always seems to see the potential, see the person winning, see the best about other people. They have a positive attitude. Whereas when you look at some people, they're always criticizing, condemning, complaining. Never criticize, condemn, or complain. Another one, positive people focus on the solution. Negative people will focus on what cannot be done. So do you focus on solutions when there is a challenge in front of you as we move forward with these heroes of transition? Heroes of transition always find a way. They always find a solution. But people that are negative always find a reason not to get the job done. The negative says, I can't. The positive says, I can. And so when you start looking at those items and we start an assessment of ourselves, where do we fall? Are we people that people want to be around? I heard somebody say one time, attitude is contagious. Would you want somebody to catch your attitude? When you walk into a room, are you the beacon of light? Do you project that positive attitude no matter what? Or are you doom and gloom? You have your head down, Eeyore, so to speak. For many of us, our attitude has been shaped by others. Parents, coaches, teachers, bosses, spouses, partners, clients, we tend sometimes to feed off of other people, and it can affect our attitude in a positive or negative way. I have decided that I would be proactive in generating attitude rather than letting other people dictate my attitude. We've got to be careful. We've got to be so careful. You know, the old crabs in the pot. If you put one crab in a pot, it gets out. If you put multiple, they won't get out because they'll pull each other down. So many times, you know, we allow other people's opinion to create our attitude. Hugh Downs, I don't know if you remember that guy, but Hugh Downs, a happy person is not a person in a certain set of circumstances, but rather a person with a certain set of attitudes. So I was listening to Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor is really a very interesting guy, very intelligent guy, great speaker. He says there's three components of attitude. There are our thoughts, there are our feelings, and then there are our actions. So our thoughts are what we take in. Our thoughts are what feeds into our head. Our thoughts are all the stimulus, what happens, what we read, what we listen to, what's said to us, the people around us, conditions. Our feelings is how we process these things emotionally. Well, based on that, our actions are the outward thing. So if our thoughts create negative feelings, our actions can be negative, which creates a negative attitude. People just don't want to be around you. But if you're that person that can offset some of the negative input with positive input, and we can program our emotions to be positive, we are the people that other people want to be around. So the whole thing about this process of thoughts, feelings, and actions, if you observe people's actions, a lot of times you can back it up to their emotions. You can back it up to their thoughts. And that's why we've been doing this about 6 months. I talk so much about putting the good stuff in. Putting the good stuff in. And instead of believing you can filter negative stuff in your head consistently and have the right attitude, because it's hard to do. The input is so important. It's such an important aspect of this whole process of attitude. I watched an interview with Zig Ziglar recently, and I don't know what you do. I don't know if you ever watch some of I call them the giants of the success movement. But Zig, I believe, was the number one speaker, teacher, and trainer on attitude. I mean, he was the guy who coined the phrase stinking thinking. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. And so I was watching Zig, and this was great because I have felt this for years. Not that I'm very smart. I've always believed this in watching people. But the interviews asked Zig what he felt the most important attitude is. Of all the attitude characteristics, of everything out there, what he felt was singularly the most important characteristic of attitude. And this is what he said: far and away, it's gratitude. Wow. I mean, I've got to agree. When a person loses their gratitude, everything else starts to go. When they stop saying thank you, when they stop being appreciative, when they fall into the trap of believing things are owed to them, they have what's the word? They feel things should be given to them. They're just so about themselves, they lose their gratitude. I recently was in Philadelphia, and I consciously made an effort throughout this whole trip to thank everybody. I mean, I thanked the TSA, and I thanked the pilot, the flight attendant, the limo driver, the person who checked me into the hotel. I just went out of my way to see what response and what that did to other people. A simple act of gratitude, a simple act of thank you. I thanked my client. I thanked everyone in the training room. I continuously said, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. It was sincere. It was not manipulated. I watched this phenomena unfold. I watched how people changed their demeanor. I watched when people were having a bad day, how it turned their day. Literally, when I was coming back, they dropped me off at the airport, and we got there a little early, as always. And as I looked around and I saw there's an earlier flight. And I have the ability sometimes to talk my way onto earlier flights. So I walked up to this earlier flight, and the two people were working for the airline. They were not having a good day, and they were having a horrible day, in fact. And I walked up, and I just stood there. I didn't say anything. And they finally looked up, and I got one of these. Yes. And I said, I know you're very busy, and I apologize. I said, and thank you for giving me some of your attention. But is there any way I can get on this earlier flight? How much would it cost me? And the guy looked at me and sarcastically said, look, buddy, let me tell you, I've got to get 10 people off this flight. We're oversold. Well, I looked at him and I said, thank you for considering it. I really appreciate it. I know you guys are swamped, and I apologize if I interrupted you, but thank you for what you do. And I started to walk away, and the guy looked at me. He goes, hey, thank you. You've changed my day. Folks, what does it cost? But it has to be sincere. I think one of the core elements of a great attitude is to be grateful. Are you grateful for what you have? Are you grateful for the people around you? Are you grateful for your job, your career, your business? I was also looking at Zig, and they said, Zig, how can a person be grateful during the tough times? And without even thinking of it, he said, well, that's easy. If we understand that challenges, downtime creates character, character creates persistence, persistence improves performance. And all of a sudden, it became very clear that we should embrace the challenge. We should be grateful for the tough times in our life, because the tough times in our life is what develops our character, our persistence, our perseverance. Are we? Attitude is not a challenge. It's the response that's the challenge. Focus on the opportunity. Okay, focus on the opportunity, not the obstacle. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right, and that's Henry Ford. But more than anything, a great attitude, you will draw to you what you are. You want to be a repeller, or you want people to be drawn to you? You want to draw people to you with great attitudes? You have to have a great attitude. Stinking thinking, bad attitude does not draw a positive attitude, but a positive attitude will draw to you positive people. This is Joe Peachy. Be on the lookout for the Heroes of Transition. That'll be coming soon. Get out your phone, 55678, with the word Sales Edge in the message. Text that. Hit the link. Go to the landing page. There's free downloads. Enjoy them. Also, there's links to the podcast. Please, if you feel this is of value to you, like it, send it out to your buds, and also give us a comment. more than anything, on this anniversary, so to speak, number 50, we want to be a quality asset in your personal growth, in your journey, in your, say, journey of transition. So look forward to our next podcast. Thanks for coming. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening. New episodes will air each Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star review. The Sales Edge is sponsored by Peachy & Peachy Incorporated, a firm which provides training, consulting, and keynote presentations, empowering corporations and individuals to attract and retain quality clients for higher revenues and growth. Make more money in sales. Speak with Joe in person by calling 407-947-2590 or visit www.peachyandpeachy.com. Spelled PICIAND, PICI.com.